Something feels different at Heartland. The air is heavy with tension, and the quiet peace of the ranch hides a truth that's waiting to break free. In Heartland Season 19, Episode 5, titled Suspicious Minds, trust is tested like never before. Bonds that seemed unbreakable begin to crack, and the people who once stood side by side now look at each other with doubt in their eyes. Secrets don't stay buried for long in Hudson, and this time, even love might not be enough to hold the family together. Heartland has always been more than just a show. It's about horses, it's a story about family, healing, and the quiet strength it takes to keep going when everything feels uncertain. Season 19 continues that legacy, taking us deeper into the lives of the Flemings, Bartletts, and everyone who calls the ranch home. But Episode 5, Suspicious Minds, changes the rhythm of that familiar world. It feels heavier, quieter, like something's brewing beneath the surface. From the very first scene, you can sense it. The sun rises over the ranch, but the morning doesn't feel peaceful. Amy walks through the stable, brushing down a restless horse, her mind clearly somewhere else. The camera lingers on her face, calm, but with that distant look she gets when she's carrying a secret or sensing something no one else can. There's something unsaid in the air, something that feels just out of reach. This episode seems ready to pull the rug out from under the calm, its routine of Heartland life. The title itself, Suspicious Minds, hints at exactly what's coming. Doubt, mistrust, and the slow unraveling of confidence between the people who depend on one another the most. It's not just about who's lying or hiding the truth. It's about what happens when love starts to fade. It's under the weight of fear. Visually, the tone is striking. The bright Alberta skies that usually feel like freedom now look colder, almost distant. The ranch, usually filled with laughter and warmth, feels empty, echoing with old memories. The cinematography captures that stillness right before something big happens, like the world is holding its breath. Even the background sounds, the horses' hooves, the creak of the barn door, the wind brushing through the fields, feel like they're whispering that something's wrong, and that's where Heartland shines. It doesn't need explosions or shouting matches to build tension. The unease grows slowly through looks, through silence, through the things that are not said out loud. As the episode begins, every familiar face seems to hide something, and every smile feels a little forced. Fans have been waiting for a storyline like this, one that challenges not just the characters' loyalty to each other, but their ability to forgive. After all, Heartland has always been about healing, but healing can't happen until the truth comes out. As Episode 5 begins, that truth is inching closer. Ready to change everything, the calm before the storm always begins with memories, and Episode 5 of Heartland carries the weight of everything that came before. In the last episode, we saw the ranch breathe between heartbreaks. Amy tried to focus on her horses, but her eyes told another story, one of quiet struggle. She's been the anchor for so long, but even anchors can crack under too much pressure. Lou, on the other hand, tried to hold her family together while juggling the endless responsibilities of being Hudson's mayor. Every decision she makes seems to come with a cost, and lately, that cost feels more personal than ever. We also saw Tim step into a role that's both familiar and uncomfortable. The protector. He's always been driven by instinct, but in Episode 4, that instinct turned into something sharper. He's starting to see shadows where there might not be any, questioning the people around him, even when they don't deserve it. But that's the thing about Heartland. When love mixes with fear, the line between protecting and pushing away becomes thin. And then there's Jack, the quiet heart of the ranch, the man who's seen every storm pass through these fields. But even Jack seems troubled. He's noticing things others overlook: unspoken words, tense glances, that strange feeling that something just doesn't fit. His wisdom keeps the family grounded, but in Suspicious Minds, even he might be tested. Episode 4 ended on a delicate note: peace, but the kind that feels temporary. The kind that exists right before something breaks. The horses were calm, the sky clear. But the story wasn't. There was a lingering sense that someone wasn't being honest, that a truth was waiting to rise to the surface as we step into Episode 5. Those small moments from the past start to matter. The things Amy brushed off, the decisions Lou made under pressure, the warnings Jack tried to ignore, all of them now begin to connect. Every character is carrying something inside them, something they haven't shared. The silence between them speaks louder than any argument. The episode's setup feels like a tightening rope. Every frame is layered with meaning. A letter left unread, a phone call that ends too quickly, a stranger's name that makes Amy pause for a moment longer than she should. None of it is obvious, but it all matters. Because in Suspicious Minds, the smallest details become the seeds of doubt. This isn't just another story about conflict, it's about how easily trust can fade. When the people you love start keeping secrets, the recap isn't just a reminder of what happened before, it's the foundation for what's coming next. And what's coming will test every relationship at Heartland in ways no one sees coming. Every story has a breaking point. And in Heartland Season 19, Episode 5, Suspicious Minds, that moment arrives quietly, almost invisibly, like the chill that creeps in before a storm. The episode opens with a sense of unease wrapped in ordinary life. Horses run free in the morning light, but there's a restlessness in their movements. A mirror of the people watching them, Amy begins her day the same way she always does, calm, focused, trying to lose herself in her work. But something feels off. A new horse arrives at the ranch carrying a history that no one fully understands. Its owner, a stranger with a charming smile and evasive answers, brings questions that Amy can't shake off. She feels an instinct she's learned never to ignore, the sense that someone isn't being entirely truthful. Meanwhile, Lou finds herself walking the fine line between public duty and personal sacrifice. Being Hudson's mayor was never easy, but lately, it feels impossible. People she once trusted begin to whisper behind her back, and a decision she made weeks ago threatens to come back and haunt her. Her political life begins to blur with her family life, and both start to feel unstable. Tim, ever the watchful one, starts digging into the stranger's past, convinced that something doesn't add up. His suspicion becomes obsession, but as he tries to protect his family, his actions begin to push them further away. The title Suspicious Minds comes to life through him. The man who means well, but can't stop doubting everyone around him, and through it all, Jack watches. He doesn't say much, but his silence carries more weight than words ever could. He's been through enough to know that secrets never stay buried for long at Heartland. When he looks at Amy, there's pride, but also worry, as if he knows that this time, she might be facing something that can't be fixed with patience or kindness. The episode builds its tension like a slow burn. Every conversation feels slightly off. Every smile hides something unspoken. The wind through the fields seems heavier. The sunset doesn't bring peace, only shadows that grow longer as the day ends. And then something happens. Small, but powerful enough to shift everything. A discovery, a confession, or maybe just a look that reveals more than words ever could. Whatever it is, it changes the tone of the story completely. What began as quiet suspicion turns into emotional chaos, and the Heartland family finds themselves standing at the edge of something they can't fully see yet. Suspicious Minds isn't just about doubt. It's about the danger of what happens when love meets fear. When the people you trust most begin to feel like strangers. And as the episode unfolds, that question echoes louder with every scene. Who can you really trust when the truth starts to hide in plain sight? In Suspicious Minds, every character stands at a crossroads. Not the kind you can see on a map, but the one that lives inside the heart. This episode doesn't rely on loud arguments or dramatic confrontations. Instead, it explores the quiet spaces between people, the glances that last too long, and the silences that say everything. Each member of the Heartland family is caught in their own battle. But all those struggles weave together into one powerful story about trust, love, and the danger of assuming you truly know someone. Amy is the soul of the ranch, calm, strong, and endlessly compassionate. But in this episode, her calm feels forced. Her connection with horses, once a peaceful escape, now feels like a mirror reflecting her own doubts. The new horse she's training becomes more than just an animal to help. It becomes a symbol of her inner struggle. It's wild, unpredictable, and frightened, much like the emotions Amy is trying to control. There's a moment when she looks into the horse's eyes, and it's as if she sees herself a reminder that even healers need healing. Lou's story runs on a different kind of tension. She's used to carrying too much: the town, her family, her reputation. But episode 5 exposes the cracks beneath her polished surface. Every decision she's made lately feels like it's circling back, demanding answers she's not ready to give. A single scene of her standing alone in her office says everything, her face lit only by the glow of her desk lamp. Her expression tired yet unyielding. Lou is beginning to question whether she's been making choices for the right reasons, or just to keep control of a world that's slipping through her fingers. Tim, on the other hand, becomes the embodiment of suspicion itself. His instincts, once protective, now start to turn against him. He watches people too closely, asks too many questions, and when no one gives him the answers he wants, he assumes the worst. But beneath his anger is fear of losing the people he loves, fear of being wrong again. The irony is painful. In trying to protect his family, Tim might be the one driving them apart. And then there's Jack, the quiet heartbeat of Heartland. He's seen every mistake, every heartbreak, and still believes in second chances. But even Jack can sense the shift in the air. His wisdom doesn't come from knowing the answers, but from understanding the cost of silence. He's the bridge holding everyone together, yet in Suspicious Minds, we see something rare: doubt flickering in his eyes. He knows something's wrong, but he also knows that forcing the truth can sometimes break what little peace remains. What makes this episode powerful isn't the drama, it's the honesty. It shows how love can turn into fear, how protection can feel like control, and how sometimes even family can feel like strangers when secrets start to grow. The ranch, once a place of healing, becomes a stage for emotional distance. Every character is trying to do the right thing. Their hearts aren't speaking the same language anymore. By the time the sun sets, nothing feels certain. Not love, not loyalty, not even the truth. And that's what makes Suspicious Minds one of Heartland's most haunting chapters. A story that reminds us that trust isn't lost all at once. It fades quietly, in the space between two people who stop listening. The title, Suspicious Minds, doesn't just describe the characters, it describes the atmosphere. It's the invisible tension that fills every corner of Heartland in this episode. Suspicion here isn't loud or obvious. It seeps in like fog over the fields at dawn, soft, almost beautiful, but slowly consuming everything it touches. Episode 5 is less about lies and more about what happens when trust begins to fade, one small doubt at a time, at its core. This episode is about trust and truth, two things that have always defined Heartland, but now stand on shaky ground. Trust has always been the foundation of the ranch. Amy trusting her instincts, Lou trusting her decisions, Jack trusting his family to find their way. But when suspicion enters that space, it changes the way everyone sees each other. A simple question, where were you? Or why didn't you tell me? Suddenly carries the weight of 1,000 fears. The beauty of Heartland lies in how it hides deep emotion in simple moments. A pause before answering. A hand pulled away too soon. A look that lingers just a little too long. In Suspicious Minds, every one of those moments becomes a symbol, proof that sometimes the heart senses what the mind refuses to see. The cinematography mirrors this theme perfectly. The wide-open landscapes, usually symbols of peace and freedom, now feel lonely and vast. The same fields that once represented possibility now echo isolation. The golden sunlight that used to warm every frame feels colder, filtered through clouds that never quite clear. Even the color palette of this episode seems to whisper the theme, earthy, muted, strained, as if the story itself is holding something back. Another powerful layer of symbolism is silence. In Heartland, silence has always been sacred, a space for reflection, for healing. But in this episode, silence becomes dangerous. It's the silence of unasked questions, of people too afraid to face what they might hear. When Amy doesn't respond to Lou's concern, or when Tim walks away instead of explaining himself, That quiet becomes heavier than any argument could be. The silence says what the characters can't. And then there's the horse, the ever-present symbol of freedom, connection, and truth. In Suspicious Minds, even the horses seem restless, uneasy. Their behavior reflects the humans around them. Nervous, distant, watchful. Heartland has always used animals as emotional mirrors, and this episode takes that idea to its most haunting form. The creatures who live by instinct sense the cracks long before the people do. Ultimately, Suspicious Minds explores one unshakable truth: when trust is broken, it's not just relationships that suffer, it's identity. Each character begins to question who they are when they're no longer certain of the people they love. The suspicion doesn't destroy them instantly. It erodes them quietly, like wind shaping stone, by the time the credits roll. The theme lingers long after the screen fades to black. It leaves us wondering not just who was right or wrong, but how much suspicion it takes to turn love into distance. And in true Heartland fashion, it reminds us that healing can only begin once the truth finally steps out of the shadows. If words build the story of Heartland, then light and silence paint its soul. Episode 5, Suspicious Minds, is a masterclass in visual emotion, a story told not through dialogue, but through how the camera breathes with the characters. The world of Heartland looks familiar, yet strangely different here. The Alberta sky still stretches wide and endless, but something about it feels colder, heavier, as if the clouds themselves are keeping secrets. The cinematography in this episode doesn't just capture scenes, it feels them. The color palette shifts subtly throughout, moving from warm amber tones in the morning to pale grays by evening. The day seems to dim as the tension grows, mirroring the characters' emotional descent. The once inviting glow of the ranch house windows now looks muted. It's like a home trying to hold on to its warmth while the outside world darkens. Every frame is deliberate. The camera lingers longer than usual on hands, on glances, on unspoken emotions. When Amy brushes her horse, the shot holds on the small tremor in her fingers. When Lou looks out her office window, the reflection on the glass captures her uncertainty more than her face ever could. When Tim stands alone in the barn, the dust in the air catches the light, a quiet storm swirling around him. It's invisible but suffocating. The episode's mood relies heavily on contrast. Bright scenes feel uncomfortable, while dimly lit moments feel oddly truthful. The stable's shadows become safe havens, places where the characters can finally admit what they're afraid to say in the light. Even the music seems to understand this rhythm. Soft, haunting instrumentals woven between long pauses of quiet. Sometimes, the silence feels louder than any soundtrack could ever be. Heartland's visual storytelling has always celebrated nature, but here nature becomes part of the tension. The wind sounds sharper, the trees sway just a little too violently. The horses, usually calm, move uneasily, their breath visible in the cold morning air. Their ears twitching at sounds no one else hears. It's as if the world around the ranch knows what the humans don't yet, that something is breaking beneath the surface. And then there's the sunset, the moment that defines the entire mood of the episode. It's breathtaking, but unsettling. The sky bleeds orange and red over the fields, casting long shadows across the paddock. It's beautiful, yes, but it feels like the kind of beauty that comes before loss. The kind that warns you that peace, no matter how golden, can't last forever. By the time night falls, the ranch looks both intimate and isolated. The warm light spilling from the barn doors feels like a heartbeat against the vast darkness beyond. It's a visual metaphor for the entire episode, the idea that even when surrounded by suspicion, there's still a fragile light fighting not to go out. Every shot, every flicker of shadow, every pause of sound in Suspicious Minds speaks a language of its own. Together, they tell a story of fear, love, and quiet endurance. The story of a family holding on, even as the light around them starts to fade. When Suspicious Minds first aired, it didn't just stir the quiet fields of Heartland, it stirred its audience. Fans across social media were quick to notice the shift in tone, calling Episode 5 one of the most emotionally charged chapters of the season. It wasn't the kind of drama that screams, It was the kind that whispers, and those whispers have kept fans talking ever since. Viewers were drawn to Amy's subtle transformation. Her calm strength has always been her anchor, but now fans are asking, is Amy beginning to doubt herself? The arrival of the mysterious horse and its secretive owner sparked countless theories online. Some believe this stranger carries a connection to Ty's past, a ghost of memory that Amy hasn't fully faced. Others think the horse itself symbolizes something deeper, a reflection of Amy's inner unrest. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. Fans are feeling that old ache again, the ache of not knowing if Heartland's peace will hold.